Please be on mute. Today, in the media conference with Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Caru News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. But today's topic is not only current, but very, very relevant. The topic is domestic violence in India. Domestic violence in India includes any form of violence suffered by a person from a biological relative, but typically is the violence suffered by a woman by male members of her family or relatives. According to a National Family and Health Survey in 2005, total lifetime prevalence of domestic violence was 33.5% and 8.5% for sexual violence among women aged 15 to 49. A 2014 study in the Lancet reports that although the reported sexual violence rate in India is among the lowest in the world, the large population of India means that the violence affects 27.5 million women over their lifetimes. However, an opinion survey among experts carried out by the Thomson Reuters Foundation ranked India as the most dangerous country in the world for women. The 2012 National Crime Records Bureau report of India states a reported crime rate of 46 per 1 lakh, rape rate of 2 per 1 lakh, dowry homicide rate of 0.7 per 1 lakh, and the rate of domestic cruelty by husband or his relatives as 5.9 per 1 lakh. These reported rates are significantly smaller than the reported intimate partner domestic violence rates in many countries, such as the United States 590 per 1 lakh and reported homicide 6.2 per 1 lakh globally. Crime and rape incidence rates per 1 lakh women for most nations tracked by the United Nations. In India, 30% of women have experienced domestic violence at least once from when they were aged, and around 4% of ever pregnant women have experienced spousal violence during a pregnancy. There are several domestic violence laws in India. The earliest law was the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, which made the act of giving and receiving dowry a crime. In an effort to bolster the 1961 law, two new sections, Section 498A and Section 304B, were introduced into the Indian Penal Code in 1983 and 1986. The most recent legislation is the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, PWDVA 2005. The PWDVA, a civil law, includes physical, emotional, sexual, verbal, and economic abuse as domestic violence. And to discuss this very, very important, very sensitive topic today, the domestic violence in India, we have elite, we have very knowledgeable, experienced panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and she is Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑 Pawar. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑 Pawar is practicing law for last more than 33 years in Mumbai. She has done Masters in Science and Masters in Law. She worked as a special public prosecutor in Sessions Court, Mumbai, and was on teaching faculty of JC Law College. In 1995, she was appointed as additional public prosecutor, High Court, dealing with important criminal writs as well as criminal appeals. Thereafter, in 1999, she was appointed as the head of writ appellate side, which gave her a chance to defend government in high-stakes matters as well as public interest litigations touching social causes. She was in the panel of central government as senior counsel, MHADA, BMC in the High Court, Mumbai. At present, she is practicing in High Court at Mumbai. Welcome, Advocate Jyoti Pawar on our show. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, being an advocate, being a lady, you know very well what is the condition of domestic violence. And being the public prosecutor in High Court, you might have faced several cases where the domestic violence were taking place. We would like to know your views on domestic violence in India. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, please. Please unmute.
Very good morning to you, Mr. Lal, and my co-panelists, as well as the viewers. Today, we are discussing a topic which is in a very bad shape as far as India is concerned. Nonetheless, it has decreased a lot because of the literacy of the women now. And I feel that today, even some males are fighting for their legal issues with women. And therefore, we cannot say today that the prevalent rate of violence is the same as it was existing before 2015 or 2018. Now, what has happened at the Domestic Violence Act, when it came into force in 2005, that time the violence against women was at peak. And therefore, this piece of legislation was brought into force by the parliament. And therefore, much of the cases which are filed by the women are today taken seriously by the police stations as well as the courts, and the victims have been given justice under this act. Now, we also had previously Indian Penal Code 498A section before the Domestic Violence Act, and it was dealing with cruelty for women and against their in-laws and also the persons who were troubling her. But that was not enough, as it only was dealing with the cases where physical abusement was there of the women, as well as the women were forced to harass rather in such a way that they were forced to commit suicide. And therefore, the 498 section gathered much importance that time. But Domestic Violence Act is gender biased, I would say, and it only doesn't deal with women, but it also deals with men. But we have maximum cases filed by women today because the women are the weaker gender in our society, who are ill-treated by the in-laws or even sometimes by the parents. And as Mr. Lal has already said in the definition, that it is not only sexual, physical and mental harassment, but it is also economic harassment. If a lady is qualified enough and she wants to work, and if the husband does not allow her to work, then that also amounts to domestic violence against the husband or in-laws. Now, this can also apply to the girl's family, that is parents. If she wants to work and they don't allow her to work, that also case can be filed against the parents by the girl, that the parents do not allow her to work. Now, such are the conditions which are prevalent in India, that the girls are given much higher status than the men as far as these legal issues are concerned. Otherwise, also in India, the equality as far as Article 14 of the Constitution of India says that equality before law. And that equality before law has still not reached in India, as the male dominance is there and will always be there. And therefore, this can be only controlled with the changing set of mindset of the people who are around such victims or these women. Now, the women who get married into a family, who are educated and are kept in the house and not allowed to work, or they are mentally harassed or even physically abused, they can immediately go to the police station, file a complaint, or seek help from the NGOs or any other organization, that is social organization, and a lawyer also, and file a case against these people. But as far as my practical experience goes, there are so many cases where the physical, mental, and the sexual abuse and economical abuse is not reported by the women, as the girls are mostly very much afraid of the social status of their own family as well as their own. So therefore, most of the cases under the domestic violence are not filed, and if filed, because of the production of the evidence before the concerned courts, the conviction is very low. As far as the statistics goes, the Domestic Violence Act in 2018, the Domestic Cases Act in 2018 was only 13%. And under the Indian Penal Code, under the different sections which were dealing with punishment, was rather 50%, 50. So we can see that the very lower conviction rate under the Domestic Violence Act due to lack of evidence that the women can produce before the court. Now, very interesting is this, that even if a complaint is filed by the girl against the family in the police under the Domestic Violence Act, she cannot be thrown out of the house and she continues to reside in the house till the complaint is totally finished, or rather the judgment is pronounced. Now, women should be taken seriously, according to me, as far as the victims of Domestic Violence Act, which we are not taking into consideration because women are used for such type of violences. And I know that even educated women are not aware about their rights under this Domestic Violence Acts, since, as Mr. Goel said, that violence, economic violence, is also one of the violence which is dealt under Domestic Violence Act. But most of the ladies, they listen to the in-laws and they remain in the house and do not work, and they take it for granted that yes, we are women and we have to work for the house. Now, another aspect which has come in front of the society, or rather in front of the people, is the continuous ongoing of the pandemic. And due to the pandemic, the pressure on the women has increased, as the women, those who are staying in the house, their husbands have lost job and they are continuously in the house. Some people, those who are working online, they are also in the house. Therefore, there is an increase in the total cases of, rather, they are not reported, many of them are not reported. The reported cases, there is definitely a jump in the cases, and the women are really harassed mentally and physically by their in-laws as well as their husbands, since the husbands take to alcohol in the house because they are sitting without any work. They beat up their wives. Small issues, there are a lot of fights taking in the domestic atmosphere, and therefore the women are really today in the pandemic, ongoing pandemic, are the most under pressure persons who are working, and the domestic violence has increased in these times. Now, what has happened, that government has taken a lot of measures to see that the domestic violence does not happen rather to the women, but it cannot be brought totally to 0%. As I said, that the mindset of the men has to be changed to bring change in society. Merely framing of laws and implementing them will not help the domestic violence against the women to decrease, but definitely the mindset of the persons, those who are treating the women in such fashion, should change. And if that change is brought, I think there will be no requirement for any such laws for the equality of women. Today, the women who are highly educated, they are coming forward rather to file domestic violence cases in small issues. And today we come to know that there are so many false cases which are being filed by the women. And the courts have to be very cautious while dealing with such type of cases, as the wheat has to be sifted from the flour. And it's very difficult without the evidence to reach any conclusion that the women has been a victim. And sometimes it is seen that the men are also victim. In one of the cases, in leading cases in Punjab and Haryana High Court, they have decided against the woman, as she has accused her husband of false allegations and could not prove her case. And therefore, in fact, the judgment went against her. And the man was said to be right in that case. In one of the instances which I remember, which was given in one of the talks, was this, that even if a lady, she insists to her husband without any troubles from his mother-father's side, that I cannot stay with your mother-father and you have to leave them, a man can also file a case against the woman under the Domestic Violence Act. So this is an act which is a gender-biased act, and it can be filed by the man or the woman. But the ratio, of course, of women being ill-treated in India is far larger than the men. Today, there are so many groups of men. They are complaining to the different bodies that they have been harassed by the women, and which is also a fact. I would say that sometimes it does happen, like we have seen in many of the rape cases today, that the girls with consent start living with a person, and when he does not fulfill her wishes, she goes to the court of law, or rather to the police, complaining that she has been raped without her consent. So these type of cases, even the High Court has granted bail to the person at the onset, or rather at the outset, and they have said that this looks to be a false case. So the courts have to be really cautious in dealing with Domestic Violence Act also, to see, and also 498A, that the complaints which are filed by the ladies are not false. Now, what has happened that the government is trying its best to rather rehabilitate these distressed women and victim women, and they have done a lot of rather development in such a field. And the Women and Child Development has launched Swadhar Gruha Yojana, which provides legal counseling, legal aid, clothing, shelter, food for women who are in distress. As per a report of 31st December 2020, 362 shelters were operational in India, and hardly 42% of the funds which were given by the central government were utilized out of 100%. That shows that the women which are there, they do not come forward to lodge some complaint, nor they come to reside in such shelters. We see that so many women who are underprivileged, they undergo a lot of domestic violence. We see on the road the rage which the men take out against the women. They fight with them. But how many women are today really knowing or have knowledge that yes, there is something like Domestic Violence Act which they can act under, and they can file a complaint in the police, NGO, and also the courts. They are not aware at all about their legal rights, and therefore these things go on, and this will go on till the women have the knowledge of the rights, and the persons who are victimizing them, they know that yes, today the mindset of the men have to be changed, and in some cases, even the court should take to task such girls or women who are filing false complaints against the men. Now, as far as the government is concerned, they should really see that the laws which are enacted, they are strictly implemented by them, and they should ensure that the victims who come forward, they do not get scared to file lodge complaints against the persons due to the fear of society or their own house people. And therefore, it's very important that today we understand that the development world, how much progress it is making, and the women are coming forward and are placed in a higher position than men. And the men should give due respect to such ladies. Another aspect is this, that right of protection against her husband and the family. The lady should be aware, she should be done pre-marital counseling. Even I feel that the men who are getting married, they should be done with pre-marital counseling, and both should know as to what is the importance and what are the legal position in India, laws to protect themselves against any abuses. I see them, when I say men and women both, that what are the rights under the law, that they should protect themselves from such abuses. Now, today, women who are qualified, they should understand the Domestic Violence Act. In fact, at the workplace, the Vishakha judgment, which was pronounced by the Supreme Court, they have laid conditions and rules under which the women will be subjected to, if they are subjected to harassment of any type, even mental harassment, the inquiry has to be set up, indoor inquiry, and the person has to be dealt accordingly. But how many cases in the corporate world also go reported? I don't feel that because of certain aims and ambitions, girls do not come forward to lodge complaints against the harassing bosses. And there also so many complaints have gone to water, or rather they have washed under the water, because the girls are scared that they might lose their jobs, or they do not want to be without work, or they may not be taken up by some company if at all they come to know that this is the complaint which was lodged by the girl against the bosses. These are some of the practical difficulties which are faced by the working ladies. Now, as far as household ladies are concerned, I've already stated that unless and until they become aware about their legal rights, they cannot at all come to lodge complaint. They will go on suffering under the laws, under the in-laws' hands, or husbands, or even parents, or whoever it is. And in these cases, not only the girl or the woman can come in front and lodge a complaint, but also the persons who are knowing her, her relatives, also friends, they can lodge a complaint on her behalf. This is what is the law says. Now, I also have stated the practical aspects and also the legal aspect as far as the women are concerned. Now, today, we see that men are also coming forward to lodge complaints against the women. In that scenario also, the courts have to be very cautious in dealing with the matters, as the literate women, they take laws into hand. Not only literate, but I would say even illiterate. I have seen so many cases where the girls are saying that, yes, my mobile was kept closed by my husband and therefore I'm leaving my husband. So today, mobile phones have also been a cause of so many fights and domestic violence against the men and the women. And such things have to be dealt very delicately, according to me. So this is a topic, domestic violence in India, which is a subject which is endlessly debatable. And this cannot be carried on at such a short time allotted to speak. And therefore, I end my topic that, yes, the government has to take measures. The mindset of the persons have to change. May it be women or men, whoever are in distress, they have to be counseled. Medical professionals have to screen them, which has not been done in India till today. They take it very lightly. Police people, they also take this violence lightly. And these are the people who have to take it seriously. If not at all, these girls or men should go for counseling. They should go to the NGOs if police are not taking complaints, and take aid of the NGOs to file such complaints. So these are the things which can really be taken seriously, and the government should take measures for the safety of the women and for the well-being of the women. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti Pawar, for giving the complete scene of what is happening today as far as the domestic violence is concerned. And according to Advocate Pawar, the condition is not that, it's very bad in India, keeping in mind many things. And she says especially because of the COVID time, the domestic violence has increased because everyone was staying at home, have worked from home, and many lost their jobs. So the husband become alcoholic and they were beating their wife, abusing the wife. But in our country, the problem is that the women who is being subject to the domestic violence, they are not reporting it to the police. Even if they are reporting, the police is not taking that seriously. And that's why, according to Advocate Pawar, the counseling is required for the women, premarital, as well as for the men also. She also mentioned that the law are there in place. Strict laws, stringent laws are there, but sometimes they were misused also by the women. And that's why they have come out with a new law in 2005. But still, so many laws are being in place. Still, the domestic violence is increasing. And she says that government has to take strict action, but the mindset of the people have to change. Until the mindset is not changed, it is not possible to control the domestic violence in India. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti Pawar, for giving your views. I'm sure today's program is quite enlightened, and I would like to inform my viewers when the flyer of today's program has reached, I received many messages that this is a very, very important and a touchy issue. One must hear and view this program because many people are not interested to talk about domestic violence, which is happening, and the figures are alarming. And we know that in India, especially, everyone is not reporting. So the reported cases are very, very less as far as the actual domestic violence which is taking place. So thank you very much, Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Pawar, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Dr. Urvashi Mittal is MMS CFA, PhD. She did MMS, Master of Management Studies from BITS Pilani in 1986 and completed CFA in 1990 with a silver medal. She was conferred with Honorary Doctor of Philosophy in Management and Social Service by California Public University, USA, in a function held 2 days back in Delhi. Recently, she was awarded with reputed Certificate of Excellence 2018 Woman of the Year, Dionisio, DIONISIO United Award, New York, USA. With the aim to serve society, she joined Inner Wheels in 2008-9 and is currently serving as District Secretary. Inner Wheel is the world's largest women voluntary service organization present in 104 countries, having its representatives in United Nations also. She received many awards within Inner Wheels, such as Outstanding President, Brand Ambassador, Editor's Choice Awards, etc. She introduced many new concepts of social service for which she received several awards, few of them like Honda Superstar Award for Excellence, Award for Social Work by NGO Social Umbrella and Deepan Jain Trust, Lions Club Award, Anchor Media Group Award, Award for Peace by Munir Ironi, a renowned Hollywood celebrity coach. She is associated with a number of other social organizations such as FICCI Ladies Organization, Braj Kala Kendra, ISKCON, DCT, and Zena World, etc. She appeared several times on Aaj Tak, CNBC, Zee Regional, DD News, MH1, India News, Janta TV, Total News, JK News, Media Conference with Lal Goel, as well as on print media also. Welcome, Dr. Urvashi Mittal on our show. First of all, please accept our congratulations for receiving this honorary Doctor of Philosophy from California Public University, USA. And Dr. Urvashi Mittal, you have heard what Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Pawar has spoken, and she has given all the aspects about the domestic violence in India, whether it is social, economic, legal, and so she has covered almost everything. But there are many aspects which are still untouched. We would like to know from you your views on domestic violence in India. Dr. Urvashi Mittal, please.
Hare Krishna. The more we choose not to talk about domestic violence, the more we shy away from the issue, the more we lose. Good morning, Mr. Lal and my fellow co-panelists. Thank you, sir, for the great introduction and inviting me here. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔's talk was very much informative. Violence is the last refuge of the incompetent, and sometimes you have to pick up the gun in order to make another person put down the gun. Between these two extremes, we will talk about domestic violence. Let's discuss reasons first, though you've already said Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 also threw light on, but I'll quickly go over. Low self-esteem, jealousy, competition, property or wealth, dowry, feeling inferior or superior, alcohol and drug use, anger, depression, suppression, temperament, feeling rebellious, extramarital affairs, financial problems, adolescent problems, bullying. These all pointers are self-explanatory. Here, it becomes imperative to mention that domestic violence, as even Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 said, is not only physical, it can be emotional, spiritual, cultural, financial, economical. Sir, I always advocate being excessively cautious about dealing with a particular issue because wordy duels or differences of opinion should not fall under the subject. Secondly, it should be seen that the issues are not blown out of proportion. We must look at our culture and our country. we basically attach so much of importance to the institution called family, marriage. So it must be seen in that light. We can't just be inspired by West unnecessarily. We must see to it that the issue is not blown out of proportion by an ill mind. After all, it's just a hairline gap. So though domestic violence covers a whole gamut of human emotions, it's broadly perceived as the violence on females, including rape. So normally we evolve with time and learn from each other in globalized world. But with respect to this situation, it's equally grim, even up there. I was Googling and I found out even in US, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. This includes a range of behaviors, slapping, shoving, pushing, which may not fall under domestic violence at times, but still it was written up there in Google. So this is what I want to draw everyone's attention to. Then there are few countries like Middle East countries that do not have legislation on domestic violence, including Iraq, Iran, Myanmar, Qatar, Haiti, Oman, Syria, Palestine, Yemen, and Armenia, etc. So it has been seen that making name and fame for oneself, that is achieving a celebrity status, or even does not help one to save oneself from this domestic violence. Education helps a little. Education definitely helps a little, but not to the extent that we all expect it to achieve. Sir, Advocate Jyoti said they must approach NGO. On this point, I must say that most of the NGOs, like the NGOs and international NGO in Urbil that I am mostly associated with, we have a limitation of funds. We do have a panel, certain advocates we have tied up with, and we refer such cases to them. But again, advocates, they have their limitations. They are busy. So first of all, we must have speedy, fast-track courts. Secondly, most importantly, as a social worker, my focus is to see to it whether the issue actually falls under the category or not. As I just said, we should be very cautious about it. Sir, I'm not talking about rape or the hardcore physical violence. Obviously, that has to be treated differently. It can only be through courts and there cannot be any compromise on it. But this has been seen that the people up here, they are so much influenced by West that every single thing. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to something else. Jyoti ji is also here. We've grown up, we come from a world where parents, they would beat up their children in order to inculcate values in them. I've been brought up like that. And I don't have any grudge with my parents. Whatever they bet me once, if at all I was slapped, it's still ingrained. I know that's not to be done. It was bad. These days, the definitions have changed. We know, forget about slapping. We can't even shout at children because it's become like West. They threaten us. We will call police. We'll do that. I mean, when I'm saying they, it is the general thing. So the things are changed. But in this changed scenario, my duty is to see to it whether this is an actual issue or it's just being made up. It's just being blown out of proportion. Trust me, in most of the cases, I have seen that if you lend them a patient ear, they are satisfied. They understand that to women, they are oversensitive. One day they feel miserable as if they are the absolute on the receiving end. Other day they are happy, they feel the queen. So if at all any such case is brought to your knowledge, you must take out time to study the complaint, study the pattern, must mingle with the husband or the boyfriend or the so-called, because again, domestic violence, so it occurs with domestic circle. They are approachable. You must go sit with them and see what it is, how it is being made out. What is the problem? Secondly, sir, I will say that when we talk of women empowerment and when we want to make them independent to be able to take care of themselves physically, so training them physically is one aspect, making them strong. But other thing is counseling boys to respect women. As you have said, Advocate Jyoti has said the same thing even I was coming to. Sir, as a social worker, I think if at all someone comes to me with any such domestic violence issue, which is not rape or physical violence, I'm repeating again, is it my duty to unnecessarily tell her, yes, you are right, this is a domestic violence issue, go and report and come out of this family? My duty should be first to see to it that her safety is intact. Sir, in today's scenario, we are all sitting here, we all understand the actual scenario in Nari Niketans. Where would I keep her? What would happen till the case is actually decided? Am I able to give her a safe environment? It needs so much of mental counseling. So that is what is my prime concern. I'm afraid in this situation, we have nothing to learn from the West. We've learned so much in context of our friends, of our siblings, of our children. We know we don't have to beat them. We can't shout at them. But here, West does not provide us with any relief. Even the celebrity couples, like, they've parted ways or they are still suffering. As you said, they do not prefer to come out in open. Whenever you read, you feel something is frivolous. There's something which is tricky. So all I'm saying is this is a very, very delicate and sensitive issue. We must take out time. And as a social worker, I do that. So trust me, if I go to slums or even to the ladies we mingle with, the same status, they're the children. They come up to you, and because they know you work in this field, they just want to call you up. They want to tell about their problem. It's at some time or the other, they were harassed by either the staff or by someone. So they want to talk about it so that they can feel normal in their life. It is nothing they can do later on. So you just have to tell them about good touch and bad touch. This is what we've been doing through our platform. And if at all, you can make them comfortable through a patient ear. Otherwise, you take them to counselors. And yes, that is what should be done. So as Advocate Jyoti said in the end, as you said, sir, this is what even I am coming to. This is not an issue which can be absolutely dealt with just by having fast track courts or with government's invention. People have to be mentally counseled. It has to be inculcated in them that what is right, what is wrong. And again, that every single thing cannot be put under domestic violence or male chauvinism. I'll only say, it is not a simple mathematical problem like 2 + 2 = 4. It includes human emotions and it has to be dealt like that. I will just end with, raise your heart, not your hand. Thank you.
Raise your heart, not your hand, says Dr. Urvashi Mittal. And she has described this in a different angle. She says, we have not learned and we should not learn anything from West. She even raised the issue that how the children in India earlier were treated, disciplined, inculcate the values, even by shouting or even with the beating also. And she says, but nowadays it is very, very difficult. So when we are not giving those values, because we cannot shout, even now forget about the beating to the children, because this is coming from the West, that it also comes under the domestic violence, or it can also be treated and the police can be reported. So according to her, when we are following the West, what the result is that the domestic violence are increasing even in India. And she says that a role of an NGO is not that once somebody will approach, that they will immediately say, okay, you leave the husband and go to the police and file a complaint, but rather see to it how she can be counseled properly. But that is a very big issue. Who is going to get all the funds? Because according to her, the NGOs doesn't have any financial supports. Although I will like to discuss this in the next segment with her, because NGOs like Rotary or Inner Wheel or many others, they have lots of funds for spending here and there. And I know many social service clubs. I was also in the member of a social service clubs that all these many of them, I'm not saying all, many of the social service clubs are organizing dinners and doing all types of activities. But to say that we don't have the funds to help a helpless woman is not correct. But
sir, limited funds.
Limited funds. So, but what she says is that we have to first counsel. We should not instigate her to take a drastic action, because many times it happens emotionally. Somebody take an action, and if you act as a catalyst, then it can break the family forever. And then what will be the fate of that woman? Where she will go? The case will linger on. She will be in Nari Niketan. What is her safety there? What will be her life? So all those things, according to her, one has to be very, very distinct. So thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Once again, congratulations for you. And one thing I would like to tell, that many times what Dr. Urvashi Mittal says, I am not agreeing 100%, but she is having her own views. One should appreciate. And that is what is our program. We always allow everyone to speak of their own. Whatsoever my view or other panelists' view, they can express. And it is good that the viewers should know the views of everyone. And then the viewers are intelligent enough to take their own decision, not to be influenced by one panelist or by anchor or anyone. They should take their own decision. Thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Daljeet Kaur. Dr. Daljeet Kaur is the Mrs. Universe Popular 2016. She is an actress. She is the CEO of IVA India Pageants. She is the President NGO IVA. She is also the Vice Chairman National Human Rights Commission India. She is ambassador with the American University. Welcome, Dr. Daljeet Kaur, on our show. Dr. Daljeet Kaur, you have heard what Advocate Jyoti as well as Dr. Urvashi Mittal has spoken. And they have given all aspects, different angles about the domestic violence in India. But we would like to know, you being a celebrity, you are being a president of an NGO, and you are also the Vice Chairman of National Human Rights Commission of India. So we would like to know your views on the domestic violence in India. Dr. Daljeet Kaur, please.
Good morning, Dr. Lal, and a very good morning to all the panelists over here. Domestic violence is a very, very sensitive issue, which is being held in 90% of the houses, which I feel in any other way. It can be abusive, it can be emotional, it can be economical. Dr. Jyoti has really given light on the legal part, which very many women does not know what is their right to file the case. Now, according to me, in domestic violence, many of the females, they don't raise their voice because they think, where will they go? Because the society outside her house is again not safe for her. And when a single woman leaves her husband and goes out in the society, people take her as their property. She being a single, so the harassment which she's facing at home is much less than the harassment which she's facing in the society, because people take her for granted in that way. And another problem which I feel is why people do not file the cases for domestic violence is it lingers on for years. When you go to the police station, first there is so much of harassment even by the police that you have to keep on telling what is the problem. And even police takes it very easily because of lots of false cases which are being done. So police doesn't take it seriously or whether this domestic violence is really done to these women or not. And secondly, when you go to the court, then there is lots of fees which a woman has to pay. And again, the case goes on dates and dates. It goes to 10 years, 15 years, until she gets a relief of being released from this domestic violence. So these are the reasons, I've seen in my NGO, people, they do not want to file the case in the court. They say, ma'am, we have to go, and then we have to keep on spending our time and money to prove that this domestic violence has been done to us. According to me, in my NGO, what we do is counseling and awareness, where a mindset has to be changed, that Dr. Jyoti has said very well. The mindset of men and women both has to be changed. Women of today have taken it granted that since the law has given them the right that they can file a case. So even the husbands are equally suffering in the false cases. And lots, because I've seen so many cases, there was a woman who filed a case with one husband and then took the alimony, then got married to another man, took the alimony. So there are so many loopholes in our legal things, where a woman takes it for granted and uses people. And mentally harassment is given to such kind of man in the society where we have failed. There's a case in my NGO, Dr. Lal. A girl was being harassed and she was being raped. So the court till now has not done the DNA test for her. The daughter, I have adopted that daughter because where will I keep that daughter? It was in the cave in my eyes, and I could not leave that girl in any orphanage home. And the girl who is unmarried cannot keep the daughter with her. What the society is going to say? It's 4 years now. We take the daughter to the court, but the court is not still giving the instruction to the man to do his DNA test. So these are the cases, when the girls, they cannot find a solution, they go for suicidal things. And then they become so adamant now, there's no other way they get justice. Justice getting in the court is very, very slow. In our India, there are no fast track. Even though the court has mentioned there are fast track quotes which gives result, but I've seen many cases they do not get it. So very right what Urvashi said, that in the previous years, our parents used to slap us whenever we used to do anything wrong. And there we used to understand this is wrong and which we should not do it. We have to stop it here. But in today's time, you cannot even raise your voice to your children. That is, again, I will say the fault of the parents, not the fault of the children. You are not to listen to your children each and everything, You have to be their guidance. You have to be their role model. Whatever a children sees in the family, they follow up those rules. In a family where the domestic violence is practiced, when a man beats his wife, the daughter sees it and the son sees it. So they understand that we have the right to do this abusive things to our wife, and a husband has the right to do abusive on me. So here, the role models are their own family, the own parents. They have to understand a daughter that if anything wrong comes to you, you have to raise the voice on the very first day. You are not here to tolerate any nonsense when you are married to the family. And even the boy, he has to be taught in such a way, when a girl is coming to your house, she is your partner, she is not your slave. You cannot put all the things on her, right? That only because it cannot be one-sided. The thing is that, Urvashiji said that the counseling, yes, see, breaking a house is very, very easy. We can tell them, okay, leave the house, you leave your husband and go away. What about the children? Those are the children, they become frustrated. Those are the children, they become negative in the society. And those are the children which they again give bad impact to the people around them. So as an NGO, yes, we are running short of funds, but at least this awareness program which we are doing on Zoom, through my pageants, the Miss and Mrs. India, my motive is to stop domestic violence. Ek Awaaz, Ek Saath is our slogan, because the more people we reach throughout India, the more awareness camps we can organize. So now in almost all the states of India, my women who are Miss and Mrs. India, they are doing continuous awareness program going in the remote areas, because the domestic violence prevails more in the remote areas. The women who are uneducated, basically the maids, they have to work hard, and then the husband takes their money and slaps her. But then she says, ma'am, where will I go? How will I stay outside? Because if I'm going outside and staying alone, there are so many other men who are keeping an eye on me that she's single, so she might need somebody, That is the reason they don't even leave their house. So the very sensitive subject, this has to be done together, that how we can set the mindset of the people. Firstly, the thing has to be done from home, by their own parents, and then by the society. The awareness has to be done even in the remote areas. Please do not take your husband's slavery and the abusive language. You can give back, right? But it doesn't mean you leave the house and go away. Because the growth of the child stops here. They cannot grow, and they become very, very, very difficult to handle. They become very introvert, and in the studies, they become very poor. And when they meet people, they cannot explain their problems which are there. So I very much agree with Urvashiji, and Jyotiji has given the light. Even though she's a lawyer, she has said a very beautiful thing, that the awareness has to be done. The mindset of the people has to be changed. But today, I tell you, people have really changed. There was a case in my NGO when a lady has come to win the pageant. So her husband said, if you are going out for the beauty pageant, if you do not win, do not come back home, I will divorce you. So automatically, when she won the pageant thing, her husband hugged her and spread a word around the society. Now he is taking care of her wife more than earlier, that she has done something. So what is to be done as role models to the society is giving our time, to those people, because we are social activists. So our role is to give a word, give our own information, give our time, our knowledge to spread awareness that this domestic violence should not be in any family. So this abusive is there when a man, basically what I feel, it's also the attitude problem which is there. When a woman is earning more and husband is earning less, so the husband feels little low, or my wife is earning more. Her position in the society is higher than me. So this is again a kind of violence which a husband feels, and even the fight, the arguments goes on, that again leads to domestic violence. The very right thing, what I will say, is creating awareness, spreading awareness throughout our country that a man has to respect a woman, because a woman is a creator. She is the woman at the backbone of the society. If she can respect a woman, she can respect the society. I mean, he can respect the society, and the society can change. Even on the other side, the women who have taken for granted this law, that they immediately files false cases, and there are some men, they're suffering from years, staying alone. They have no way, and they have become so depressed, so frustrating. And the wife is again frustrating because it's taking 21 years to get the result from the court. Half of the life is gone. So there has to be some ways out where immediately the action can be taken. As Jyoti ji said, that there are some shelters, because when in 2016, I went for Mrs. Universe in China, the domestic violence was a subject which I spoke on. But there were certain women, they say that the government helps these women to start their life, giving them job, giving them shelter, counseling them, and making their life revive again. But in India, it is very, very difficult to, even though the shelters are being provided, but for a limited period, women are not educated. She said, I will say only 30 to 40% women today are educated. In the remote area, women are not educated. So we have to make them skilled to earn their own living, so that they can live their life with dignity. That is my motive, and on which I have been working with my team of people around India.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Daljit Kaur. And Dr. Daljit Kaur has given her views about the domestic violence in India, and she mentioned very, very clearly how the things are happening. She has even said that even some male restrict the women to go outside, and to even she quoted her own pageants, that how she has counseled someone, and afterwards when she won the pageant, then the men started praising her. So she says that it is such an emotional thing. It requires a lot of counseling, and mindset has to be changed. But for that, how it is to be done, what is to be done, it has to be done by everyone, not by one person or two persons. So she wants a collective responsibility for the domestic violence. And she says even if the someone is suffering with domestic violence, the problem is the delay in the courts, which is happening today. It takes 21 years for the judgment. What will be the fate of the male or the women who are suffering from because of the delay of these types of things? So according to her, the court should also take actions swiftly. Thank you very much, Dr. Daljit Kaur, for giving your views. Now, I would like to ask my first question to Advocate Jyoti Pawar. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, as Dr. Daljit Kaur mentioned about the delay, and this is fact, and even our Honorable Chief Justice of India has also mentioned even yesterday that, day before yesterday, that the conditions in India judicially, because of the less number of judges and so many cases. Now, until unless we will not have a complete change in the judicial system, how you expect in the cases of especially the domestic violence that the law will give or one will get any relief from the legal system if it is a case of domestic violence? And that is one of the reasons that many of the such type of cases, they are not at all reporting to the courts. So do you think that we must change the legal judicial system first, make special courts for the domestic violence, for the dowries, and all those things, and it should be a time-bound case system that we can give that 6 months, that decision has to come, not beyond 6 months. Then only the women can come out, file a case if it is a genuine case, and the court can decide whether it's a genuine case or a fake case. Because in both the cases, the family is suffering, the children are suffering, the husband is suffering, or the woman is suffering. What you say about this, Advocate Jyoti Pawar, please?
Yes, Mr. Goel, I feel that the courts cannot be held responsible alone for giving the judgments late or not having sufficient number of courts. I think it's the sole responsibility of the government to increase the grants to the courts and to the law bodies. In fact, I feel that the judges which are there today are very less compared to the population of our India. And therefore, the judges have to work, actually they are overloaded with cases. Now, in fact, fast-track courts have been established and they are dealing with the criminal cases in limited time, which are fixed by the high courts, and the trials are conducted. But at the same time, such cases which are very delicate and very sensitive and which involves emotional well-being of a person, I feel that some time has to be given, as there are pros and cons for dealing it with a hurry or with a delay, both ways. And I feel that if sufficient grants are given to the courts and sufficient judges are appointed, if the mentality of the government has to be there, that yes, we require many judges for such type of population, and we take some lessons from what is the cases in US as well as UK, the countries which are ahead of us in dealing with cases. We have a large population, and therefore the judges which are there, number of judges has to be increased. And the dealing of the cases, yes, one can say that in this much time the cases can be dealt, but it cannot be dealt in that manner, because these are the cases which are touching one's physical as well as emotional well-being. And therefore, the sifting of, as I said, the finding of the evidence and dealing with them, so many times the wrong judgments are given by the courts, as they are also humans, and mistakes are going to be happened by the humans, but mistakes are based on the evidence which are produced before them. And there is definitely, I feel that 75% possibility that right evidence cannot be produced before the court in such type of abuses, as sometimes they are verbal, they are sexual, and everything is not recorded like what we are recording criminal cases. Criminal cases, evidences are recorded by the police and they are presented before the court. The witnesses are examined according to their statements. But here, nothing sort of such things are available, and therefore, they have to be dealt on whatever the verbal evidence which is given, supported by some documents by the witnesses in such type of matters. Now, I just forgot to mention one thing, that today we are copying the West by the younger generation having live-in relationship problems. And in 2019, the Supreme Court has come out with a judgment where a live-in partner, whether it be male or female, is harassed and troubled by the other partner. They can definitely go and lodge a complaint against under the Domestic Violence Act and take proceedings against them. Now, as far as result is concerned, what Dr. Daljit is saying is maybe that there is delay. But when we say sometimes in the court premises, we do say that yes, in this case, justice delayed is justice denied. But in many cases, it happens that justice hurried is justice buried. In such cases, I feel that giving a time limit is very difficult according to me. But yes, some type of time limit can be provided. And in some sensitive issues, some time limit can be extended by the courts. That depends upon the courts who are dealing with the matter. And I feel that such type of giving the judges more quantity of judges, it totally depends on the allotment of funds by the government, central government, for judiciary. And that itself can, as far as the dealing of the cases is concerned, that can be definitely done something for such type of cases, family cases, like we have established family courts for dealing exclusively with family issues. Now, in such type of domestic violence cases also, some type of courts can be established, which will be special courts for such violences, and they can be dealt as per giving certain norms that yes, these can be dealt in this way, and the persons who are counseling them, they can be also brought as expert witness in the court, and accordingly the judgment can be pronounced. Yes, it can be done, but it has to be willingness from the government, I feel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti, for giving your views. Although when you say the time limit cannot be fixed or the number of judges, why the number of judges cannot be increased, it's a very, 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 very surprising thing, because everybody knows that in India, so much unemployment is there. So many advocates, about 20 lakhs advocates are existing in India. So it is not that we have less number of legal luminaries or those who have done the legal course. But the thing is, there is no will to appoint them. Many places we have seen, even the high courts are recommending their name or the Supreme Courts are recommending their name. The government is not accepting it. Now, many times it was said, irrespective of the governments, whether this government or the previous government, it's because of the political issues. And that is why they are not increasing they are not even forgetting increasing, they are not filling the vacancies of the courts, judges, which is very, very shocking. And I am sure the government should think very, very seriously. Otherwise, the sufferer will be all this, and especially the underprivileged and the women and the children. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Dr. Urvashi Mittal, in your submission, in the first time you have mentioned that social service clubs are not having funds. We are not asking, my personal views are that we should not ask any the funds to be spent. The main thing is, any club, whenever the club is formed, or there are lots of different types of members are there who have different professionals. It might be that one of the member is a lawyer, one might be a psychologist, when we are talking of Inner Wheel, or Rotary Club, or Lions Club, or JC's Club, or Giants Club, might be a psychiatrist, or sociologist, might be someone, so a doctor. So if they can give their time, after all, when we join any social service club, it is not just for the name and fame's sake, it is to do real social service. It means we have to give our time for the service to the society. If the club make a time frame that every day or every week, one sitting will be available, the judge or the lawyer or the psychologist or the psychiatrist is available for solving these types of problem, whether it's a dowry, whether it's a domestic violence, it's a sexual harassment, whatnot. And if they feel, first thing is they can counsel the entire family, fine. If they feel they cannot, then definitely they can file a case, for which I'm sure any lawyer can file a case today. It's not that expensive. Criminal cases are almost free. It is not the case where you have to pay stamp duty or court fees. So my point is, don't you think the social services club also should change their mindset? Because if you people will change your things, then you can change the society. After all, as you mentioned, mindset has to be changed. Now, for changing of mindset, somebody has to take a lead. We feel that the social clubs, they are our leaders as far as the social works and social services are concerned. They have to show, instead of blaming the politicians or the government, if the social service clubs come forward and show us the ray of hope by doing these types of services where their members have to spend more time for solving this problem, then I think the change can come. What you say about this, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, please? Please unmute.
Sir, I think when I was talking the first time, you were mostly on phone. So you didn't hear what I said. This is what I said. Sir, as far as the funds are concerned, the more you have, the less it is. It is not only about domestic violence. I mean, the problems are enormous. The younger children, they need their things for their education facility. Senior citizens need facilities for their maintenance. Environment need plants. Like, people have to be, they need to have funds for operations. So you have such people everywhere. Again, sir, what do you think is the population of Delhi? I am primarily associated with Inner Wheel, and we are just 2,500 members, Delhi and NCR area. How many you think will be counsellors or advocates for that matter? So that's why I said all of us counsel. In most of the situations, if you lend them a patient hearing, if you get to know the real depth of the situation, you understand what it is and you can deal with it, and we all are doing that. Frankly, sir, NGO, when you are associated with any NGO, Daljit will know it. It's a thankless job. People expect us to work like mad dogs without any credit. Let me ask you a simple question here. A person who is a policeman or working in army, you think he doesn't have any house problems? If my husband is down with 4 fever or 2 fever, but if I'm committed somewhere, I'll go. Later on, he can get irritated and say, look at what you do. For you, inner wheel is the priority or your NGO work is the priority. If I take that as domestic violence or mental abuse, that is sickness on my part. So this is what I am saying. I'm here. I think both of us are on the same page. Everything cannot be referred to an advocate. And again, we are having an advocate here in the panel. With due regards, ma'am, how many advocates are here who are ready to reduce their fees per hearing? How many advocates are here while we are expected to bury ourselves for this cause? None of the society is ready to do their part. They are ready to extract money, as much money out of us as possible. For them, it's another professional case. So, sir, what I'm saying is, and that too with the speed, as Daljit said, Jyoti ma'am said, domestic violence cases are increasing. It's no maths. It's no science. These include human emotions. You have to understand. You have to see. I repeat, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. This is our country. We are made up of different material. For us, the things are different. How much ever you influence, how much ever you become global citizens, still you cannot become them. They cannot become you. We are here to learn from each other and grow. We must absorb the plus points and leave out the negative ones. What I'm saying is, as you said, you must change your mindset. Again, that's what, sir, it's already changed. That's why we are here. I'm telling, sir, you must be able to count the numbers and the names on your fingertips. How many ladies are still ready to join NGOs? Most of them are busy with their kitty party or the night parties or throwing around. I'm not saying that is bad. I mean, okay, the kitty parties are absolutely okay for me. At least that those ladies, they're actively involved. They do not fall under depression. They're doing something constructive. They're learning something. They're flaunting. Nothing is bad in anything. I'm not here to raise a finger on anyone. But what I'm saying is there are limited ladies who understand this concept. That's why they are here. And we have to make a start. And the start has been already made. Again, through your platform, I'm saying, sir, this thing cannot be tackled through mainstream quotes. Because the people, they must be different. How do you provide those evidence? I'll just give you a short example. These days, father and sons, they're always at loggerheads with each other. Because after movies like Three Idiots, the children, they grow up in a different world. They see different dreams. Father says, no, I want midnight oil. I've given my life to come up with this business, or I see this dream for you. You have to fulfill that. You just have to sit with them. You have to make both of them understand. This is domestic violence. Both of them are emotionally abusing each other every single day. But you think this can be referred to a court? No. The people like us, NGOs like us, if we get into it, if at all it is brought to us, we can do the counseling. We can understand this is not how it is done. We can understand the real meaning of life. So, sir, again, I told you, if something has happened in past, supposing a child calls you up and confides in you, how she or he was badly harassed by someone in the family, domestic circle, could be a staff also. Now, one thing could be, take your attention, take your focus to the point like, okay, I'm with you, let's go and get him or her arrested. Or just tell him or her, it's okay, that was very bad and said, can you pinpoint, let's see what can be done. But again, prepare yourself so that it does not happen with you in future. Good touch, bad touch, do not get yourself alone in the room or have a ball pen or something ready with you every time. So, sir, we are dealing with that. Most of the ladies, I'm telling you now, they blow it out of the proportion. The men, everyone, it is an age of the survival of the fittest. Everyone has so much of problems on mind. At times you don't mean it. You just happen to say it in the spur of the moment. The very next time you are, I'm like, I understand. So, sir, basically through counseling, you have to make everyone understand that please enjoy those moments. If someone is good intrinsically, they are good people. Do not listen to their temporary behaviors. But if someone is a drunkard, if someone beats you physically, if someone rapes, it's even hard to repeat that word every time. Of course, there should not be any compromise, and whatever best we can do, right, with helping from finances to even referring them to good Nari Niketans or whatever. But again, sir, it's not easy. So what I'm saying is, we all are on the same page. People have to be mentally counseled, and people at all status. Your celebrity status does not give you any relief from this. Education helps a little, but why do we not see a society where this is included in curriculum and we are taught ever since you are kids? The way we all understand it, we've been trained. हमें बच्चों के ऊपर we don't have to get angry on them. We don't have to raise our volume on them. Why can't we train ourselves? Why is it not included in curriculum? Why is everyone not made to read about the negative part, that what it can do to you? Like, you can have actual physical problems like having thyroid, having some disease, having cancer, having ulcers, having anything. Whenever you feel these extreme emotions, we all understand here, though we do not have a doctor in the panel, that these manifest itself in some other diseases. So I think it should be included in curriculum. Everyone should be made to read. And till then, we are doing our best, whatever we can. And society is full of problems. But again, many things are blown out of proportion. We are here to take care of them too. This is what I want to say, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal, for defending and giving your views. That is a very important thing, that what social service clubs are doing. Only my one suggestion is, yes, you are right that after all, it's so many problems. Our country is so huge and so many diversified problems are there. But my only suggestion is, like every cities are having at least 10, 20, 50, 100 clubs of a particular field, like Rotary or Giants or Lions or Inner Wheel, etc. Why not? And they have the different names, that this club is for river, this club is Virat or something. Why not? The one club is dedicated for a particular cause, one club is dedicated for other cause. So all the clubs, instead of having 100 clubs doing almost the same thing, that today is so and so day, so we are blood camp, so every camp club is involved in doing that. Instead, if you designate, this is my suggestion, you designate one club for a particular activity, so that club will be dedicated and they will see the problems of the particular city wherever they are. So that is what my suggestion. But it's after all, it's not with you only, but you can put up your suggestion. Being a district secretary of a very, very important club, which is having a representative in United Nations, it's not a small thing in our wheel. So I'm sure that it can be done. Anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Now my question goes to Dr. Daljit Kaur. Dr. Daljit Kaur, do you think this problem of domestic violence starts from the family only, and the family of the girl before marriage? We always blame after the marriage, as well as with the boys. The proper values were not inculcated with the children by the parents, and that's why the responsibility lies with the parents more than anyone else. So do you think the parents should be counseled about the domestic violence which can take place with their children in future? What do you say about this, Dr. Daljit Kaur?
Yes, Dr. Lal, I agree with you, because the first education is from home. Second education is from school. As very well Urvashi said, that even in school we study so many languages, so many chapters, social studies and all these things doesn't matter a lot when a child grows. What really matters is the personality of a person. So this personality development should be in all the schools, right? From the time there has to be a subject where it has to be taught that this is how you have to respect a woman, and this is how you have to respect a man. This is how you have to respect a human being. So, this education first, it is, of course, the family, the parents. If there is a domestic violence in your own home, the children, they see that and they become negative. And that frustration carries forward when they get married. But on the other side, maybe sometimes this domestic violence, which they have seen in their family, they set up their mind, I'm not going to do with my wife, or I will not allow my husband to do domestic violence on me. But what I have felt is, yes, the counseling of the parents is very, very much equal. When a girl gets married and goes to the other family, what happens generally in domestic violence, sometimes there are different reasons, The first reason, what I can say, when a man has an attitude that I am a man, which he has learned from childhood, that you have the right to give slavery to a woman, you have the right to raise voice, you have the right to raise hand to your woman. This is being in the northern areas, what I've seen, like in Haryana and Punjab, this is what is being taught when a boy is born in the family. Tum ladke ho, you are a boy, you have every right to do. And to the girl, what is being taught, you are a girl, beta tujhe sab kuch sehna padega so that you don't come back to your house. So this education, which is lacking in our society, is still prevailing in many of these cities in the smaller areas. May not be in the metro cities, but in the other cities like Punjab, North, Bihar, UP, ye bola jata hai. This is being taught to the girl. Beta, whatever happens, you don't have to come back. You have to stay there, because it is bad if a girl comes back to her parental home. And the boy is given the full right to abuse a woman. The boy has given the full right that you are a man. You apni biwi ko control karna. You should know how to control your wife. This is being taught by whom? By their own parents. So the first lesson, which is the counseling has to be done by their own parent. The mindset of the boy's parents as well as the girl's parent has to be changed through the awareness. Then, of course, the children which are there, the education should be to them from the school as well as from the home. That do not take any nonsense, because you are a human being. You have got the same right to live as the man, and the same atmosphere. The earth belongs to you as it belongs to a man. You have full right to take the same air, which is being given by God. So that is why I have started my team of people, to set the mindset. I told you that through this pageant, I never wanted to do beauty pageants. Since I'm an actress, I have so much involved in my acting. But when I saw this problem of domestic violence, the problem of mental harassment, may not be abusive, sometimes may not be hurting, but it is mentally also. When a woman is going out, when a woman is earning more, the man feels, she is a wrong character. The first thing when a woman rises through her hard work, the first thing what comes, she is having a bad character. She might be mingling with her boss. That is why she's earning more. So these are kind of emotional harassment. A woman, see, the best thing what I see, a woman, whenever she goes out to work, doing her earning, and that money she is bringing back home, giving education to her children, taking care of her family. Uske ilawa, she has to take care of her family work. She has to come back, cook for the husband, do all the household work, which she never gets relief from that. So a woman has to definitely suffer more. So through our NGO, I have made, some army, I have made an army through my pageant in different small cities. That is why I pick up people from small cities. I don't pick up people from metro cities. I pick up from small cities. We train them for 10 to 15 days. And this training goes through everything. Like the lawyer is there, the psychologist is there, and then the other people, the personality development is there. So we put all these ingredients in those women that when they go back in the society, at least they can change the mindset of 10 to 15 people in their city. So the word of mouth spreads. And when people have a problem, they come back to them. So now in many NGOs also I've seen that they give big advertisement on domestic violence. If man is suffering, a woman is suffering, come to us. But when you call them, there is no response. There is no response at all. Are you a member? You have registered with us. So we will hire a lawyer for you. You'll have to pay a fees for this. So there is lots of things when people, they get fed up and they don't even believe in NGOs nowadays. So the best thing which I could feel through my Mrs. Universe, I got that thing from there that, oh my God, if I can create 10 people in one city, those 10 people changing lives of another 10 people will slowly and slowly, remove the dirt from the society. That is my way of working. But of course, we need the help of lawyers like Jyoti ji, because without legal rights, we cannot fight any case. There should be, like pehle kya hota, there are small panchayats, there's to sit and decide and give their version. Yes, this is right and this is wrong. So those kind of things I feel now also should be there in every area, in every city. So that they don't have to go to the court. Because as Jyoti ji said, the judges are less, the time limitation is more. So we can have a good lawyers together, we can have good counselors, we can have good psychologists. There's like a benchmark, through an NGO. They can give their points there where the solutions comes down, maybe through counseling or maybe giving some advices to those people that yes, This is how you should lead the life. If you don't like a woman, what is her fault? You have to start understanding a woman, what she is undergoing, and start understanding a man, what he is undergoing. So together, the kabhi-kabhi kya hota hai, parents cannot do the counseling, but outsiders, a bench of 5 to 6 people sitting together can understand and make them clear, that this is a very small issue for you, which you can easily eradicate and take care of the well-being of your family and give education to your children. So I believe in this portion now from my end, that this is what we are planning to have small benchmarks in small cities where some doctors, some psychologists, some judges, and some you can say lawyers sitting there and advising those people instead of going to the police, because police has got lots of other issues to be handled. They and domestic violence, so they do not take it a very serious offense. They say, "Are ghar ka jhagda, jao na bhai, theek ho jaoge." And secondly, what happens? Suppose their harassment is there, beating is there. When a woman calls police on 100 number, after few hours, the woman herself says, "Sir, hamara faisla ho gaya hai. We don't want to file a case." So police gets fed up. They have to leave the job. They have to come to your house, take the husband, go to the police station, sit there for hours for counseling. Both are shouting. No end is coming. So at the end, even police has taken it is very lightly. Yes, if you really want to file a case, you have to have a mindset कि मुझे ये केस फाइल करना है, मुझे इससे छुटकारा चाहिए. ये नहीं कि लॉयर आपका केस लड़ रहा है, पुलिस आपके लिए फाइट कर रही है, आप बीच में निकल जाते हो. सो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है जिसकी वजह people don't take this kind of people seriously.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Daljit Kaur, for giving your views. Now, the last round, I would like to ask Advocate Jyoti, what suggestion you would like to give to the civil society about the domestic violence in India?
Yes, Mr. Lal, what has happened that 25 years back, when I was giving a speech in IMA, I had said that time that the honesty begins at home. Now I have a doubt that whether this type of statement can really be proved today in this world, because what has happened is children are being exposed so much to the outer world. The world is at their fingertips. The children go abroad to study. They are most of the time not in the house. The parents are working.
What message you want to give?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm coming to. In fact, Mr. Dr. Daljit, what he said, I agree to some extent to it, that we have to start teaching in schools and colleges that how to respect each other. I would say each other, that is men as well as women, and how to not make a mountain out of molehill. Like Dr. Mittal said, Urvashi Mittal said, that so many times people say certain things and they are okay the next day. That these are the emotional issues which are to be dealt with. I also request the government to form courts for dealing such type of issues, and the persons who are dealing, they should be sensitive towards their clients. The police should handle such matters in a sensitive way, and then only at least some type of milestone we can reach as far as domestic violence is concerned.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Thank you
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti. Now my question goes to Dr. Urvashi Mittal. Are you there? Dr. Mittal, you are there? No, I think she's not there. So Dr. Yeah, you are there.
Yeah,
Dr. Urvashi Mittal, same thing I would like to, your message, very brief message for the society, the civil society. What message you want to give about the domestic violence in India?
This is bad. Stay away from it. Try to understand. After all, we are all human beings. We need to show our best. If we are born on a earth, we've come here with a certain mission, and we are called the best creation of God. So this is what we must reflect through our behavior, through everything, and everyone goes through ups and downs in life. But to start behaving like an animal, that's not right. We are human beings, the best creation. We have to stick to that. We've come here with a message from God.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mittal. Now, Dr. Daljit Kaur, what message you would like to give, brief message to the society?
Yeah, my message to the society is domestic violence is prevailing. Raise your voice, don't just suppress it. And again, my same thing I will say that education has to be given through home as well as from schools and colleges to start the subject on personality development, which is very, very delicate because this enhances the personality of a person. They become so polished when they move out in the society. They themselves will have a mindset that no, we are not going to harm any other person. I have to respect my wife and I have to respect my husband. See, जैसे जैसे आप चीजें डालते जाओगे वैसे वो tree grow होता जाएगा. So right from childhood, this should be there.
Okay, thank you very much. So viewers, we have seen today all our three experts have given their views, and very, very strong views about the domestic violence. Yes, it is misused many times, but it doesn't mean that domestic violence is not taking place in India. Who is responsible? We always try to blame the politicians, the government, the courts, and the police. But why? After all, why the domestic violence is starting? It's starting from our home only. If we will not see to it that the domestic violence will take place, nobody will go to the police or to the court or to anywhere, to the NGO. That is the responsibility of the civil society. And the charity begins from home. Similarly, domestic violence begins from home. So please try to control it. Educate your boys and girls, the children from the very beginning, that how to respect the woman, the girl and the woman. After all, we pray for 9 days, twice a year in Navratri, the Devi, the Matas, the Durgas, the Lakshmis, the Saraswati. This is only just for the sake we are doing it. Why not we pray every day? As one of the panelists said, the women are the best creature. Yes, they have bought us